Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive recorded Saturday, 19 August 2012. Episode 29. Happy anniversary, baby. Well, here we are again.
How's it going?
It's going really good. And, of course, the title of the episode this week is...
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
Name the group.
Happy anniversary, baby.
Sounds familiar. I'm at a loss.
Little River Band.
Oh, no, I remember them from the Night Owl.
That's right. That's right. Awesome group. Great vocals.
Yes.
Really excellent band. Just awesome. So, yes, here we are again with...
Well, happy anniversary, Rob and Terra.
Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday
How
we
many
celebrated
years?
23
Awesome.
big years.
Awesome.
So we had a great time. We'll be sharing a little bit more about what we did for our anniversary. But yeah, 23 years ago yesterday, married my lovely wife, Terra. And it's just been an incredible ride so far. And we're looking for more incredible rides yet to come.
And I'm sure there will be.
So how has your week been?
Good. You might probably asking why am I wearing sunglasses. It's in regards to the new lighting here at the studio.
Oh,
there's a big debate about fluorescent lighting and eyes. That
What?
it strains the eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that?
I just read it on ask.com.
Oh, okay. So share with our viewers and listeners what you're talking about.
Oh no, there's just actually it's been something that's been talked about in the past. Some people supposedly talk about eye strain,
Right.
with fluorescent lighting in buildings and whatnot. And I actually I did actually look this up some time back, so I just remember I didn't look at it right now. But that there are some side effects that come with that. If you wear contacts, for example, it strains your eyes a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
That's all I have is, I work for the government, and of course that's all they have is fluorescent lighting. I've not had that issue.
Yeah, well, I work at the school, so I mean that's
Right.
everything that we're infected with, though. But yeah, supposedly the gases and can cause migraine headaches.
Well, I've not experienced that, so I guess I've been fortunate.
Yeah,
so far.
I guess it's just some fortunate people that have those side effects.
Well, we were supposed to have, or I was expecting to have, one of our good friends, Troy McGonigal.
Mr. Coffee himself.
Yeah, Mr. Coffee. He had offered to guest on the show this week, too, but I guess he must have been just a little bit too tired from the trip. He was with us up at Balmorhea State Park for our big dive weekend and celebrating our anniversary.
Jealous.
And
I
was very disappointed that you didn't come. I mean, you were all sad. I'm like, what?
I was, but school's stuff is expensive nowadays, so I had to weigh the pros and the cons, and obviously I got outweighed.
So for future reference, plan ahead.
Right.
Set aside your money and everything for the trip, and it's not to be touched by anybody else. Matter of fact, we'll be talking a little bit about dive planning, or trip planning, rather, a little bit later on the podcast. It's in our show notes. So we had a good time up at Balmorhea. We had, of course, Terra and myself. We had the McGonigals with their 4 kids. And then we also had Trish Urban and Gay Culbertson. They were up there. They had a great time as well. They got to go with us, I think it might have been the June.
Of this year?
I'm trying to remember how far back it was. It may have been last year.
It was last year. I was there with them.
Yeah.
That was the day that you wanted the rain to stop. When
Well,
you were
guess
standing
what?
there.
Guess what? we got inundated by rain yet again.
Oh.
This was a very rainy weekend. So it was a good thing that this time Terra and I had we had a room this time because and of course Jay and Trish, they had their little pop-up RV trailer, which was pretty nice. It was really impressive the way they had that laid out. But yeah, we had this nice big storm come in Friday evening and Saturday evening, both. And Friday evening, it came down pretty good. It was a nice light show, and it kind of flooded out the camping area. So I'm glad we didn't camp. We didn't bring tents of camp this time.
It must have rained a lot then.
Yeah, Gay said it was. He got up in the morning, and it was just there was almost no dry spots there. So if you weren't in a trailer of some type,
you had to get your snorkel and
you
your
better
fins.
hope you were scuba diving because that's what we were going to need to get some sleep.
Get your wetsuit on.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But I got some good pictures of the cloud formations, everything. It was just beautiful sky, beautiful area, and of course that dropped the temperatures down to really comfortable.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah.
This morning we woke up here actually to rain.
What?
Yeah, it rained.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it was nice and fresh.
How long did it last?
Well, by my house, it must have rained about an hour.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A nice
It
steady.
doesn't look like it rained at all at my house.
No, a nice steady stream for about
studio.
an hour. Yeah, that was
Wow.
South Del Rio. So.
Well, of course,
nice.
by the time the sun, really gets to going, it probably bakes it all off anyway. So.
Yeah, by 11 o'clock, it was already, the rain was, the clouds were already, moving on.
Wow. So we were talking before we started the podcast. You were talking about you have a little bit of a headache. What's up with that?
Well, I'm kind of giving up soda. I'm going cold turkey on the Coke with the intent to try to lose some weight.
Okay, cool.
I've done it in the past, lost weight real quick. The only thing is, it's just, you kind of fall off that wagon, especially if you like Coke.
And he means Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Yeah, let me be the soda. A soda pop. And so I've kind of cut back on my intake and started getting these headaches. I think, some people...
Caffeine.
Well, that's what I was talking about before the show started. For some people, it's the caffeine.
Right.
People think, okay, well, I'm going to stop drinking soda, and it's a caffeine headache. It's really not, because I can drink a cup of coffee, which has double the caffeine as a Coke, and it doesn't do anything for me. But if I have a glass of Kool-Aid, my headache will go away, momentarily, because it's the sugar. It's the sugar that I think I'm addicted to.
Oh, that's why I've been married so long, because I'm addicted to that sugar.
You're addicted to that sugar. There you go. And
Did I do good, honey? I'm just making sure I rack up some points.
Sugar
here.
is addicting, let me tell you. And so anyway, it's just the sugar that I'm actually addicted to. Yeah. So which is what's actually causes the weight gain.
Wow.
Large amounts of sugar will cause weight gain.
Well, that's true, especially if you don't have enough, if you're not burning the calories off.
Exactly.
Which is true with everything. I mean, of course, I always tell people in all things moderation, which of course is scriptural, but you can eat and drink a lot of stuff as long as you don't drink a lot of it.
Right.
There's a scripture that says all things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And so just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you have to go nuts with it.
Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you must do that thing. Where's that from?
I'm trying to remember now. It's got to be Star Wars.
No, it's Star Trek.
Is it Star Trek?
Yeah.
Which episode? I don't remember. And I'm ashamed to say I don't know.
Ooh. It's on the
You
country.
can't even name it.
Yeah, it's on the undiscovered country. When the president is giving the speech towards the end of the movie.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember. Yeah. Okay. Yep,
I stumped Rob.
You've stumped me, and I feel stumped. So, okay. So, well, definitely best of luck with that. That's definitely a challenge. Anytime you break an old habit, you a lot of times you have to replace it with another habit. And unfortunately, that's kind of what gets smokers into trouble. Of course, it's a nasty habit to begin with, and it's not healthy. I don't care what you say. It's not. Anytime you stick something that's lit on fire and you're sucking on it, how I don't care what marketing strategy any company uses. How could you ever think that that's anything other than not healthy?
The way I see it is, if a house catches on fire, yes, it produces smoke. They tell you to get to the ground, not inhale it, because you can die.
That's right. So there should be enough sense right there.
It's okay. It's all right if you do it in moderation. Just small little puffs, not a whole room full of it.
Right.
You'll be fine.
Right.
So that should be a sign, people.
Well, what you see is, what's interesting. You'll get in a conversation with people who are trying to quit, and they're like, "Well, I smoke because I don't want to eat, and I know if I stop smoking, I'm going to go nuts eating." But usually, you see those people smoking heavily. They're overweight. I'm like, "Well, what are you fixing? It's a habit thing."
But I'll get bigger, Rob. I'll get bigger if I stop smoking.
It just makes no sense. Find a healthy habit. Since obviously it's a habit thing for people. So find a different habit to replace. A lot of times people associate smoking with another activity. Usually it's like coffee. And that's probably the most frequent thing that I see, or alcohol. Usually there's a two-handed thing going, right?
Yeah, that is the biggest thing that I always hear. I have uncles and family members that drink heavily and they smoke.
Yeah.
But they only smoke when they're drinking. So it's kind of like, stop drinking then.
Yeah.
Or cut back on your drinking and that'll eliminate the smoking.
Right.
Why are the two connected? Who knows?
I think it is for those who are familiar with psychology, there is a term called oral fixation. And also the stages of development, there's the oral stage where you see little kids, they pick up everything and they want to put it in their mouth. And that's just a stage of development. Well, it's almost like these people have gotten fixated at that stage of development, and so everything they've got to put stuff in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just keep their hands down. They're always doing something. They got to put food or a cigarette or something in their mouth. I'm like, you got to find a way to break that habit, and repetition of something else that's healthier will help.
Like scuba diving.
Absolutely. Speaking of that and smoking, of course, we're up at Balmorhea, and that is a very popular place, as we both know, for
all kinds of people.
Yeah, all kinds of people, but certainly for scuba diving training.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 3 different groups up there that were doing training. It was kind of a light weekend because the weather kind of turned a lot of people back. So it wasn't as packed with your normal group of non-divers that shows up there. So we were there watching, some of that. And I've got some footage I'm going to show of some of the training that was going on. And one of the instructors just smoked heavily, had the unfiltered. You just, and you can smell that. I mean, I cannot stand the smell of cigarette smoke to begin with, but I so readily recognize the unfiltered types because my grandparents used to be all into that. And this guy was going nuts with the stuff. Every time he was out of the water, I'm like, and what a great example to be setting for students. They see that. I just don't get that. So, instructors out there, if you're going to set a standard, set the standard all the time. Don't just get if you're going to drink responsibly. If try to get away from the bad habits that are going to set your students potentially up to have a really, really unhealthy lifestyle. You really should be healthy to be a diver. It's that simple.
Agree.
You go through the challenges all the time of okay, do I eat? Do I watch what I eat? Do I make sure I exercise enough? Do I get enough sleep? Do I hydrate enough? And all of these things are important to be aware of and get into good habits because that will give you a longer dive opportunity because you won't burn through your air so fast, and you'll be actually less susceptible to get decompression sickness too.
Very true. Those of you who dive would probably understand what Rob is talking about. I mean, when you got to haul gear down to your dive site,
Especially now.
especially now and here in Del Rio. If any of you who are listening out there or watching have dove the cove, carrying your gear down that steep incline is bad. You know, try to do it when you're out of breath, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, you know, just exerted yourself. Trust me, I know I went through it. I learned a big lesson, and being in shape and stuff. One time I was helping Robert, and I was done. I was so spent. I was tired.
I'm so toast.
I was so out of shape. It was hot. I was dehydrated. I was everything, and it kind of was a reality check for me. You know, you really gotta. If you're gonna be doing this, especially if you're gonna be teaching, you wanna be able to hold your own.
Or just as a dive leader, as a dive master, if you're going to be leading dives, you want to be the example,
right?
In all the things that you do. You know, wearing the gear properly, having all the good habits of how you take care of your gear, how you properly prep for the dive, paying attention to everybody else. Just picking and choosing the things you want to be mindful of does not make you a very credible leader.
I mentioned this before. If you're going to go ahead and further your education as far as scuba is concerned, if you thought basic open water certification was tough, it does get a little more challenging because the task loading that's required upon you is a lot more, you know, more demanding.
True.
And most certainly if you start getting into the realm where I'm at, like right now, in kind of the dive master mode, so in between there.
Right.
The most challenging and probably the best, and I've said this before, is the rescue diver training. Rob does a really great job of doing the course.
Thanks.
We learned a lot. I was actually the first you know, the first student that he had when he did
beat him up.
Yeah, and you realize what you can and can't do in the water, and you push your limits. I mean, you push yourself to the limit.
Yeah.
Your gear gets tested to the limit. That is where you start learning, maybe I need to wear this way. And this is where you start learning why you got to practice your skills.
Right.
Because they all come to play at the end. I didn't know I could do a lot of that stuff. You know, when Robert was telling me, well, you're going to have to do this and do this, I'm like looking at him, are you serious?
What?
I'm going to what? I'm going to have to swim, you know, doing rescue breaths on the surface. I can barely breathe myself. How am I going to give somebody else air? You know, while removing your gear, you know, doing rescue breaths, counting, swimming, and then having to exit you out of the water, it's a lot of work. So that is where you really good fitness,
all
being
of that
prepared.
stuff that we're talking about, you know,
So
stop the bad habits, or at least try to control them.
Yes.
Real quick, let's just remind folks that if you're watching live, you can certainly jump in the chat room. If you're watching this as like on YouTube or Vimeo, you can catch us live at www.ustream.tv/channel/2-guys-who-dive. And by all means, we love for you to, when we're doing live podcasts, we'd like for you to join us in the chat room. All you have to do is just enter, you know, and just add your name, just sign up for the podcast and for Ustream, and you can just jump in the chat room and we'll field your questions or suggestions. That we've had a number of people over the previous episodes join us and just make comments. And you know, even though this is Two Guys Who Dive and we primarily talk about diving stuff, the reason why it's named Two Guys Who Dive and not, you know, all about diving or something like that is because we do like to talk about other things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. So back to
we got computer connoisseurs, movie connoisseurs. We got everything.
We do. So all right. So let's show some of the video.
Let's show
video from the trip to Balmorhea.
Hello.
Wow.
You're swimming pretty fast there, Rob.
It's crazy. It was wild. I was able to find the turtle, or one of the turtles, once again.
And it's never good when you find a turtle.
Shame on you. But I was swimming really, really fast to keep up with this thing. It doesn't look like he's really moving that fast, but
They're moving.
I mean, those feet, man. Now I got this close and look at him. Pew! Took off. Now here was one of the classes that was going on. They were pretty good size. As a matter of fact, we were talking to one of the lead instructors, and we asked him how many students you got. He said too many.
Well, it's good. At least you can see they haven't kicked up a lot of stuff yet.
Oh, although it was actually pretty bad. We dove on Friday. We got there early enough to dive on Friday before the students really got there, and it was just awesome. But let me see, they got a number of things all decked out there. There's Gay. This was he hasn't gotten a lot of dives in, so he's still kind of honing in his skills as far as really getting comfortable with the 3 dimensions. You know, you see a lot of sculling going on, but part of it is he just likes to grab the fish. I was like, what were you doing? He says, I just trying to catch the fish. I'm like, you can't catch the fish just because they come up to you. And there's my lovely wife, Terra. Just because they come up to you doesn't mean that they want you to grab them or would let you.
They're pretty quick.
Yep.
Who that?
Just one of the students. And here was me, inverted, diving, coming up to Troy, who was practicing his hovering. He's getting very, very good at the neutral buoyancy. He's very comfortable.
He'd probably master it if he'd only drank McDonald's coffee.
Ooh. Well, this is kind of neat. The fish are so used to people that if you snap your fingers or clap your hands together or rub your hands together, they will actually come up to you. And this was Terra doing a little trick. You see all the fish just gathering around. It's really pronounced in the morning. If you get there one of the first dives of the day, they're hungry, so they're looking for stuff. Now, I was able to take Troy's oldest son, Mario Neal Vega, on his first Discover Scuba dive, and he took to it immediately. He had no problem with the skills that you have to teach in the Discover Scuba. Had no problem with equalization. He really
he enjoyed himself.
Oh my gosh, yes. Now, what was neat was afterward, we went back to one of the the campsite that Gay and Trish had their RV at, and we were looking over the video, and I was pointing out to Mario some of the aspects of the dive, as having him compare me with him, and it wasn't to show, well, see, you don't know how, you're really skillless, no, but you don't realize what you're doing until you see it from outside yourself. You think you're doing certain actions, and you don't realize you aren't, or you think you're not doing certain actions, and you don't realize and then you suddenly see, oh wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. So he kind of jokingly was talking about how he did burn through the tank pretty fast.
Yeah.
He says,
well, that's very common though when
absolutely,
when
and that's
you're
why I
doing
told
this
him
for the first time.
And I told him, I said, the thing is, it's air. It's there to breathe.
Right.
Eventually, if you get certified and you get practice with your skills, you'll get more relaxed. But I said, it's there to breathe. I get angry when I hear divers doing the little comparison. I mean, it's one thing to just find out how much air somebody's got left, because you're usually trying to gauge whether or not everybody's got enough to do another dive or whatever. But I do run into folks, and I'm sure you probably have too, where it's like a competition.
I have to concur with that. There's been several times when I've dove and my dive buddy will usually, well, how much air do you have? Oh, I got about 16. Oh, really? I'm still at 22. It's like, well, that's good for you. I'm a little bigger than you are.
Exactly.
And so, but the thing also is that people don't realize sometimes I can be a little deeper than you are.
Right.
And even 3, 4, 5 feet.
makes a
makes
difference.
a big
It really
difference.
does.
It really does.
does.
So there's different types of things going on as to why you may or may not have air. For example, we dive here at the lake, and I'll go through my air a lot faster than you do.
But you typically will hang about 3 or 4 feet below me for most of the time.
I'm always deeper than you are. But when we go there, I can use one tank on maybe 2.5, maybe sometimes even 3 dives for one tank.
Yeah.
So it just depends. The situation. When we dive in Balmorhea, it's a lot more relaxing for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I just get into the zone. I enjoy myself.
Yep.
When we dive here at the lake, a lot of times we're diving recreational, which but a lot of times too we're sometimes task loading some things.
Oh yeah.
So we're moving around a little bit, and you're just like you're like that fish that just kind of glides there. Jealous. One day I will be there. But anyways, but yeah, it is different. Yeah.
Speaking of that, for being his first dive,
He looks like he's enjoying himself.
and look how he was really good with his buoyancy. I mean, of course, he's doing a lot of sculling.
It's because he drinks McDonald's coffee.
That's what. I don't know that he drinks coffee. I probably ask him, but you notice that he's staying off the bottom. I mean, when I explained to him about the putting just enough air in the BC to keep off the bottom, he got it. Of course, his feet were dragging, and he didn't have the right kick. He eventually got better at it, but he tended to kick stuff up. But I mean, he's staying off the bottom. He is not bouncing, which is great.
One thing that I was gonna point out is it looks like you're taking them like on an actual full dive.
Yeah.
When we've done Discover Scubas, or you've done the Discover Scuba, like in a pool, you're limited to what you can only do in a pool.
Yeah.
There it's like.
That's a beauty, and that's why this is a perfect place to do that, because it really gives you an opportunity to experience in a confined environment the feeling of why you would do this for real. I mean, people don't get certified to dive in a pool. They get certified to do stuff like this, and so Balmorhea is like one of the perfect sites to do this for.
That's why it's always heavily,
very busy.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, he just really had a great time. I think he was kind of wanting to do it today, but everybody else but me and Terra and Trish and Gay got up kind of late, so I'm like, I'm getting in the water. I'm getting another dive in before we go.
And that's a rescue sausage there.
Oh yeah, that was actually Trish's rig.
Oh, okay.
She's got one of those QD Pros.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, those things are sweet, but
yeah, it has a little lever on the lower left side. Instead of you using the power inflator button, it actually has a lever for adding air or removing air from your BC. It's great.
Takes a little getting used to.
Yes, it does.
I actually dove with Dominic's.
Oh, that's
Dominic
right,
has
he's got one.
That same one.
Yeah.
And I was able to go down a little bit there at the lake with it. It is a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of used to mine.
Yeah. Well, for me, I like having 3 different places that I can let air out of. The on my BC, I think yours is this way too. You have, of course, where the power inflator is. That's also, you can grab the hose and pull on it and releases air. And then one on the shoulder.
Right.
And then also I have one at the lower right rear of the BC.
Yes, I have the exact same thing.
And it's great because typically you see the position that we're diving in. And, your rear end is typically the highest point of your body. And so having a rear... there's Trish floating above. Having a rear dump like that, it just is so convenient. You don't have to change your posture in the water.
The Dominic setup is pretty neat. He's got that BC, but he also has the the alternate air source is also his power inflator over here off to the. So he can actually like put air with the power inflator like a standard BC. But then he can also use the one down there, the little lever on the bottom, because he actually changed the alternate air source. So he's got that, and then plus on his on his first stage, he actually has an octopus on that too.
He's a Christmas tree.
Yeah, he's got alternate all over the place. You know,
But only one tank.
one tank, and he's
Crazy.
redundancy.
Yeah.
What can I say? He works on base. You know.
There I'm doing a little whale kick or a dolphin kick right there. It's you talk about no energy use to do that kick to move in the water. I've got a dog chewing on my fingers. But the visibility wasn't too bad. This was pretty much in the afternoon. There I am going inverted. One of my favorite positions. He tried to do that later on, and he got there for just a second, and then he was like, okay, the water in the ears thing, not comfortable.
Yeah.
And so he quickly flipped back down. That's the thing. As a diver, you really need to get used to having water places that it normally isn't. It's not going to kill you, but you just got to get used to that. Like water in the nose, water in the ears. You've got to get used to those things because that's just a natural part of being submerged.
I'm not a big fan of the water in the ear, but it always tends to happen to where I get water in the ear.
Yeah.
So I just kind of roll with it. But I've always found that as I'm diving and we go deep, when I'm coming up, the same air pressure as we're coming up
Right.
kind of throws that water out. So seldom do I ever have any water left in my ear when I finish the dive. But every now and then I'll have a little bit.
Well, this footage is from this morning. Like I said, only the four of us got up early enough to do the dive.
Who's that? Is that?
That's Gay.
Oh, okay.
And there's Trish. And of course my wife with her pink tank. So one of the things I was trying to I was talking to my wife about is because she had taken the footage, the previous footage that you saw, as far as me and Mario Neal diving. It's not a lot of fun to see the back end of people as they dive. You want to catch the front end, so I try to get out ahead of the subjects to show them from the front. It just gives you a more entertaining view.
Trish.
Yeah. She just had such a great time. Like, she doesn't get to, for being Dive Master rated, she doesn't get to dive that much anymore. They do a lot of different travel stuff like that, fishing and just mountain visits and things like that. But now that he's certified, hopefully they'll do more. And we're talking about a trip next year, which we'll get into a little bit later. So here we are cruising off the edge of the concrete area. Now, what was interesting today is I guess that one of the classes was doing a follow-up in peak buoyancy control.
Ooh.
And as a specialty. And there's all the fish. There was something they found in the water. I think it was a piece of gum. And, of course, all the fish just attacked it. So this is, like 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock, something like that. So the fish were just... But this class had set up, and this is what we've talked about this. I want to set this up out at the lake. They set up a bunch of hula hoops with weights.
Oh, cool.
So you could cruise through them. And so I've got some footage of Gay and Trish trying to go through them. And it's a great... I'm glad I got that footage. I love shots like that. I love being able to show people the importance of trimming out your gear, trimming out your weights, and getting your buoyancy control down. It's not enough to just be able to keep off the bottom. You want to have really, really fine control over, what your posture is, what your position is in the water. See, the students hadn't gotten in the water yet, so the visibility is so much better this morning. I mean, look at that.
Crystal.
It is awesome.
We need to set up, hopefully there will be enough water for us to be able to set up the hula hoops. Who knows? We'll set them up, and chances are the lake's going to fill up, and they're going to be submerged at about 200 feet of water.
Well, so much for that. Well, all they did, which was kind of neat, I hadn't even thought of it that way. Because I guess it didn't occur to me that the hula hoops
Float.
would. Yeah, I figured they would have some sort of holes in them that water would get into them. But I guess if you weren't gonna leave them there, you could do exactly what they did. So they brought them and they have strings with weights, just regular lead weight on them. Look at all these fish. I mean, they're just trailing me.
I guess what you could also do is if you find a hula hoop that you're going to use for this particular task, you check it before you actually put it in the water, and you see a hole, you just go ahead and seal it.
Yeah.
You know?
It was just insane. I mean, this doesn't even do justice how many fish were around me. I mean, they were all around me. They really were fascinated with the camera. It was just crazy. I felt like the Pied Piper of fish.
It's because they've seen the show. They knew there were going to be.
That's what it was like. I want to get on camera. Get on camera.
10 seconds of fame.
Here we go. Yeah. Look at me. Look at me. Hi, Mom. Look at all of them. Now, see, someone who's new might get freaked out by something like this. I mean, because they're like all in your face. Matter of fact, I think I was trying to catch this one catfish kept coming around me. I mean, he just kept coming up trying. It had nearly grabbed my finger a couple of times because it realized all the other fish were getting into this. Like, oh, there must be something here. See, look at that visibility. It's awesome. I can't see. The funny thing, look at it. As soon as I'm snapping my finger, there we go. There's the catfish. I mean, he's just getting right there.
I think he was hungry.
He was coming. He's coming for dinner.
I think that's what it was.
He's like, food? Can I eat? Food? It was wild. I mean, this thing got really close. It would come over, you see it open its mouth like it was getting ready to grab my finger. And
well, it's because it thought it was probably food or something.
So then Trish started. So I got some good shots of her. Actually, I got some stills too. And then Gay had to get into the act. He was like, okay, I can do this. See how many fish I can gather.
Yeah, Trish is
she's fun.
She's cool. We dove together one time when you were doing a class.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I took her down to the big boat, down to the big boat.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It took us forever to get down because she equalizes real slow.
Right. But you know what? She actually did very, very well this weekend. She didn't. Here we go. Here's some of the hula hoops. And you see one of the instructors. As a matter of fact, I think this is the guy. Yeah, this is the guy that was like the chimney. But he indicated it was okay. There's my lovely wife again, Terra. See, she's so comfortable in the water. She just hangs there. So anyway, the instructor indicated to Trish and Gay it was okay to try and play with the rings. So I'm trying to get a shot as he's coming around. There was one of the other instructors, you see. He was doing good. I think he snagged this one. He snagged one of them. Which one was it? Or maybe it was one of the other instructors. When he got snagged on, he was like dragging it through. Maybe it was this guy. Here we go. And he's hooked.
There it is.
I'm stuck.
Got a winner.
Yeah. Oh,
that is
since he looked up to see if I was taking the picture, I was like, I'm not gonna embarrass him on film.
Oh, you should have done. They would have done it to you. They would have done it to us.
It's like, how did this not work? Now see how his hose is sticking out like that? It's important to keep your hoses out in control. I think that's Trish there.
Yeah, we've got to keep that hose under control. Come on,
Here we go. And her computer, her console drags it, and then she hooked it on. I guess her.
Looks like her release.
Well, her retainer for the alternate that she had hanging clipped to her D ring. So now Gay is going to try it. He's trying to put it back in place. It's like mess up their course. Because, they had it in a certain string. You have to change levels and everything. And I actually went through it later, and I had no problems. But then, it's just, you learned to compensate, but sometimes you overcompensate for how big you think the tank is. And so people will skim really low with their stomach right there on the bottom part of the... There's Gay going through there. And see? He's trying to clear his tank, and he's too low, and so he ends up kind of grabbing it and flipping through.
There we go. Good job, Gay.
And a somersault. Not sure what I was looking for there. I think I heard something. Okay, yeah, it was the class that was up there. They were doing, you should recognize what they're doing here.
Ooh, yeah.
Tired diver toe.
Tired diver toe. Maybe they were doing an advanced course or a rescue course.
Well, they were doing yesterday. They were doing a rescue course, so naturally they did warn people. If you see a bunch of crazy stuff, people yelling and stuff like that going on, ignore it. Don't call 911 which is what you got to do when you're teaching that class.
Yeah.
You got to warn everybody.
Yeah, because there was when we did it here at the lake, there was some people there. They were picnicking, or I don't know what they were doing, but remember we had to tell them don't freak out. I'm gonna be yelling.
Right. Exactly. Oh, Scuba Girl 1 asks a question: after diving in a spring, do you need to rinse your gear with clean water? That's a good question. You should always rinse your gear. Always rinse your gear. Although springs are really good because it is, it's typically pretty fresh water coming out. But once it escapes into the environment, whether it's like Balmorhea or whether it's a pond or a lake or something like that, it's going to pick up particulates. It's going to pick up, it feeds the life that's there, whether it's plant life or fish or whatever. And so you are going to collect some stuff in your gear, and so you definitely want to rinse it out. It's more important, obviously, with salt water because the salt water can dry out and it will leave the crystallized salt, which will rip the insides of a BC to shreds. It will just tear it up, and then you will have leaks, and you'll be buying a new.
Yeah, always. We dove a couple of springs. Balmorhea is obviously it's got a natural bottom, but we dove. God, you know where I got a lot of residue and stuff when we dove the spring or the San Felipe spring.
Right.
God, I actually opened up my BC. There was rocks. There was there was all kinds of stuff in there, and
you don't realize what can get shoved into your gear when you're in a current like that.
Shortly after that dive, since we dove in January. Yep. Yeah, we're crazy. We dive in the winter. We dove in January, and I believe it was around February. I took my gear to get its annual service. And when I went and picked it up, they actually showed me all of the stuff that was inside. Good thing that you bring this up. Thank you, Scuba Girl.
I'll bet that was Trisha.
Trisha. They actually did show me that some of the residue that was found inside of my second stage. There was a bunch of little rocks and little debris and stuff like that. It didn't hinder the operation of the regulator, but those are the things that you need to get checked. Because what I did, since I knew I was going to get it serviced, I didn't bother cleaning it. So we dove. I put it away because it was freezing. Right. So I left it there, and I figured, you know what, I'm not gonna rinse it in the water. I'm not gonna go and flush it out and clean it. I'm gonna take it to get it serviced anyway. They'll do that for me. And sure enough, there was a bunch of little rocks and little pebbles that were inside of the second stage. So those are the things that will eat up your equipment.
Sure will. So So as you can see, we had a great time this weekend. So I definitely want to thank Trish and Gay and Troy McGonigal and Jennifer and the rest of the family for coming out and sharing our anniversary with us. We had a great time in spite of crazy weather that kind of cut the evening short, the afternoon short. So, but we still got a lot of good diving in and
Did you guys barbecue?
yeah, we did.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had a great time. Did a lot of hamburgers. I tell you, there's just nothing like barbecued hamburgers. Man, there's just nothing like it. But so we had a great time. A lot of
Especially
chips
after a dive.
Oh my gosh! Of course, we were all commenting how hungry we were after diving.
Yeah.
Which it is, and the food just seems to taste better after you've been on a dive. And as a matter of fact, Trish and Gay made a chicken. Oh, what was it called? Hopefully she'll pop in and put that on the chat room. Which you can always join us if we're live, like right now. You can join us in the chat room. Love to hear from you. But they made a chicken, like a goulash type of thing. I wish I can remember what the name was. But it was great. It was good food.
I think the producer's yelling it out.
Oh, of course, can't hear it with headphones on.
What was that?
Here we go. King Ranch Chicken.
There you go.
Thank you. That had to be Trish. King Ranch Chicken. That was awesome. It was good food. Good food.
Well, hello, Trish. How are you? I'm glad you're on and watching. Hello.
Yeah. So they're forever immortalized on. Probably next week I'll put together a slideshow of some of the snapshots that I took. One of the groups had built a little. I don't know, an altar or something. It was just a nice little construct of there are a lot of like stones that you could build with. They're like blocks, and they build a little thing. It'll probably not last because there'll be some people down there that just are destructive. Oh, yeah. But I thought it was kind of neat, and it actually made for a couple of good photos where you could do, because it had like a see-through. So I got like Trish and Terra to kind of go on the other side, and I took a snapshot through that.
Really? It was that big?
Well, I mean, you can only see like their face,
right?
But it was cool.
Oh.
I mean, you'll see it. You'll see it. I'll show you the snapshots. But had a great time with that. Hey, let's take a moment, and I didn't prep a commercial for this week, but because I knew we were probably going to run along with the video and everything. But let me throw up the trips training and tech and all that stuff. Of course, I've got my last scheduled class for the year coming up this next weekend. I got a couple students that are going to be going through that, so definitely going to need your help with that.
Yes. This time I mean it. Yes.
Yeah. But it'd be a good time to kind of finish out the season.
Yes.
But I can always be convinced to do a class if somebody's really bound and determined to go. Oh, and gooey s'mores. Scuba Girl 1 says that they also made those gooey s'mores. Lots of water after diving. Yes, absolutely. I'm not a s'mores fan because I'm not a big fan of mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Marshmallows. Yeah. But everybody else thoroughly enjoyed it because it was like heavy on the chocolate, which I love chocolate, but I just, I used to do tons of marshmallows when I was growing up, and now it's just the smell of marshmallows, other than in like a little bit of the small ones on the top of hot chocolate.
Okay, yeah.
Other than that,
I was about to say the same thing. I hate the big, thick marshmallows, but the little ones are okay in coffee.
Wait a minute, in coffee?
I mean chocolate.
Oh,
hot chocolate. I'm sorry.
I've never seen anybody do that.
Troy's talking about me. He's trying to use the force on me. Anyway, and during of course the Rice Krispie treats.
And I'm not a fan of the Rice Krispie treats.
Oh gosh! Okay. All right, you know what you're missing.
So anyway, you'll notice that we don't have, and this was our last scheduled Balmorhea trip for this year. So what we have left as far as big events coming up, of course, our regular monthly dive club meeting is coming up September 20th at Rudy's Restaurant. We're always open for ideas to other places, but that place got great food and plenty of room for us, and it's just a nice relaxed atmosphere. Not as noisy as some of the places you could go. And if you're interested in participating in the 2012 Trash Fest in New Braunfels, Texas, that is 6 October, You can go to their website and just do a search on Trash Fest and New Braunfels, and you won't miss it. I think they're updating their website to have some of the information updated, because I noticed the last time I went out there, they still had some stuff from 2011 on there. Oh. Which may still be accurate, but it can kind of confuse people if they're looking for current info. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if you're a dive professional, and that would be a dive master, assistant instructor, or course director, or you sell gear, that kind of stuff, you own a dive shop, DEMA, the Dive Equipment Manufacturers Association, has their annual show this year in Las Vegas.
Viva Las
Vegas. Yeah. 14 through 17 November. I've never been, and I really, really want to go. Just really good opportunity.
We'll save it. Hopefully by next year I'll be already there, and we can go to the one in Florida.
You'll want to dive the whole time.
Well, we can go to the show, and then we can hit the Crush of the Abyss.
There we go. Which is a great dive, by the way. And you can snorkel it too, but it's kind of neat to be there. So that's the stuff that's coming up. Also on our show notes, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. Did we talk about Total Recall last episode?
Yes, we actually did.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we did or not. I should have looked at the episode. What are you going to see Expendables 2? That opened this weekend, or have you seen it?
Well, I actually got the call yesterday from Dominic.
Yeah.
To see if I wanted to make the movie, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He had asked me if I wanted to go today. So I was kind of like, well, sure, not a problem. But he never called me. So
you never call me.
You never called me, Dominic. I'm hurt. And so
he never returned my calls.
I'll never forget you. You
complete me. Anyway, so you didn't get to go today.
No, I didn't get to go today, but so maybe this coming week.
Well, you know what? I just checked my schedule in my Windows Phone 7 device, Nokia Lumia 900.
With 75 updates.
Yeah, no, they added some really cool... Man, they did some neat augmentation of the camera. I was really digging.
Well, it's because they had to take the name Metro off of the thing, so they.
You know what? There is serious backlash on that. I don't want to derail the show, but there is some serious backlash on it. There's notable tech people that are like, as a matter of fact, who was it? Paul Thurrott, my hero. He said he was doing a new blog post, and he said Metro, and he said, yes, I'm calling it Metro, sue me. And I was like, that's my exact words. But so anyway, yeah, they really added some neat augmented the camera features, and they added the flip to silence, which is really convenient if somebody's calling you just want to ignore it.
Just
put it upside down. So they said they had some. That's neat. I gotta say, Nokia, you're doing a good job supporting your gear. Anyway, so I checked my schedule, which is really what we're talking about. And I don't have anything going tomorrow, and I'm hoping my lovely wife Terra has nothing going tomorrow night. I think I would like to take her to go see the Expendables 2 tomorrow, and certainly you're more than welcome to join the group, whatever size that group turns out to be.
Cool. I'll yeah, definitely.
Just give me a shout as far as.
So we'll be texting each other, in the movie.
Which time you prefer? Yeah, right. All right. I hated this part.
What did you think?
Yeah, really. So we'll probably give you a review then next weekend on
the Expendables.
On the Expendables 2. I liked the first one.
Yeah, this one is getting a lot of reviews, really good ones.
Oh, good.
It already took over #1 in the box office.
Nice.
So it's getting pretty good. I'm actually anxious to see the Chuck Norris and I want to see all of them in action. So
my producer, aka my wife,
she gave it the thumbs up.
Oh, and real quick, Scuba Girl 1 in the chat room said, "Oh, and your ice cream bars." Yes, I have to say, the Grizzlies are awesome.
Oh, were they open?
Yeah, the concession stand that in previous years had never been open is open this year. And it's just one guy that runs it, and you can buy ice right there, which is really great.
Yes.
Although it's kind of expensive. But he sells all Bluebell ice creams. And one of the things that they sell are this ice cream bar called a Grizzly. And it's just like a regular ice cream bar with the chocolate covering, but it's got malted Crispies on the outside. And it's chocolate ice cream, not vanilla. And I cannot find that in town here, so it's like I crave those. I'm like, I will have.
Have you looked at Walmart?
Yeah, Walmart does not have them. They have the vanilla ice cream version,
But not the chocolate.
but not the chocolate. And it's just, and I'm a chocoholic. I love that stuff. Oh, good grief. Come here, you.
Uh-oh.
All right, here we go. I think she's going to make this a permanent thing. As soon as she sees the lights come on, Ronan's got to make his appearance. Oh, goodness. Everybody got a nice shot of your tonsils there. Yes, our poor little babies had to batch it this weekend while we were at Balmorhea, but we had some friends of ours taking care of them while we're gone. But, they definitely get all excited when we come home. Poor babies. You're so abused. Yep. So anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. So we'll probably talk about Expendables too.
Okay, cool. Just you know how to get hold of me.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely do. So that's cool. Looking forward to that. So next on our show notes, we kind of mentioned this earlier, trip planning. One of the things that just occurred to me, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before, is we planned the Balmorhea trips as the season started. And of course, with the exception of this weekend, the cabins were all taken up. So I think what we're going to do is probably this next week.
There were cabins available this past week?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But what we'll probably do is this next week is go ahead and try to schedule the monthly Balmorhea trips ahead. That way, at least we're going to rent a room. Rent a room. But we'll put the dates up there so anybody, and we'll put those on the podcast and on the Facebook page and the website. So those who want to join us on those trips, sooner rather than later, because those rooms get taken up quick. And I will suggest now, after this weekend with all the rain, I didn't realize that the campsites got flooded like that. So if you're going to camp, you better be prepared to get up off the ground in case that you hit some rainy season there.
I would actually, I was thinking, since I didn't get to go this summer, I do want to go before the end of the season. I was even thinking of going sometime like in November, sometime like when it's cold.
Well, it's funny. Terra and I were talking about that too on the drive back. I wouldn't mind, if the weather permits, I wouldn't mind trying to pull off one more trip, up there. But because, it's still warm. Yeah. But just September is horrible for us because we got a big thing going on out at the base. And so they're not letting much of anybody take leave right now. So I basically can't do any more time off until after the end of September. So it would have to be at least October.
Yeah, whenever. Because it is a natural spring, so the temperature is the same year round.
All the time, just like San Felipe Creek.
Right. And when we dove the spring, I was actually surprised. It felt like a sauna. It felt nice and warm.
Yeah. Until you get out.
Well, getting out, that's one thing, but...
And then it's a little chilly. Yes.
just a little bit.
It was a little cold.
And we mentioned this too. The day that we did that dive, it just happened to be that the weather had been warm. It wasn't hot. We had a dive on the day that it was the coldest of the whole year.
Yeah.
Rainy, windy.
It was nasty.
Oh, gosh.
I was glad to have the trailer.
You ran inside the trailer.
No kidding.
I saw you dive in there with all your gear on.
Yeah, I was glad to have the trailer because I tell you, I love that thing.
I jumped in my truck and I turned the heater on. I was still in my wetsuit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take that thing off.
So anyway, be on the lookout. We'll start posting probably the next starting of the next podcast, the trips for the 2013 season. So, and we want to encourage folks to to sign up for those. Make your reservations. We we don't have volume or participation enough to warrant creating some sort of dive trip organization ourselves. We just simply kind of pick a place and a date, and that most people may be able to participate in, and then you handle your own arrangements. We have tried unsuccessfully to do like trips down to the Texas Gulf Coast and kind of coordinate the money that way, and that would have worked had the flood not happened that ruined the dive trip as far as visibility. So for the most part, we just tried to say, here's where we'd like to go, here's where we'd like everybody else to go, and when, and you handle your own details. So we're going to put that out there as early as possible so you can start making your plans now. Now, having said that, we were talking to Trish and Gay about who they're planning to go on a big dive trip, like we typically go, to Curacao or Utila or Cozumel or places like that. And we're still kind of trying to nail down where we want to go, but I think we're leaning towards Grand Cayman, which that's where Terra got her first saltwater dive. We were on a Caribbean cruise, and so she got certified just before that. And so we pulled into port in Grand Cayman. She got to do her first saltwater dive there, and she came up after the first of the 2 dives we did there. She says, it's like diving in an aquarium, and I'm like, that's what I've been trying to tell you. That's why I do this. So, but we'll be, as we get kind of firm up details on that, Terra and I typically try to use our tax return for our big trip. This year we didn't because we really wanted to do the tile and carpet in our house. So that was a big chunk of money. But we're done with that, and so we're going to be probably back to utilizing our tax return for our big trip. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be posting that information. So for those who have the wherewithal or maybe can squirrel away money or win the lottery or use your tax return or use your tax return or something.
It's a sign, guys, how expensive that is.
There you go. It's not really bad. You can do it for, I think the most expensive trip we had, not including like your spending money, because you obviously want to buy trinkets and stuff like that, about $3,500. If you do like the all-inclusive kind of thing. Yeah. Really, what kills you the most nowadays is the airfare, because the stays, the rooms, and the dive trips are usually pretty cheap.
We had Dominic and I had once looked into something like that. Well, we had talked about that.
Yeah.
So we looked into it, and I actually looked into it. The room rates were actually very reasonable if you get it like in a package deal.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're going to go diving.
Yeah. True.
Not a bad place. Good ratings. It was an all-inclusive. You got meal tickets. Of course, they don't pay for drinks and, things like that.
Right.
And it included the airfare, but I think the most expensive was the airfare.
Yeah.
The motel and everything, I think for a 4-night stay was going to be somewhere like $500.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad. 5 nights or
and usually they'll give you like a 2-tank dive, like in the morning or afternoon, and then like a lot of those places, unlimited shore diving. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you want to pick a place that has great shore diving,
right?
Which some are better than others. Like Cozumel's got great shore diving. Curacao everywhere is great shore diving. Well, speaking of that, and I've got this in the show notes. What's like some of your dream places you'd love to go?
Grand Cayman is
up there.
Yeah, is up there. I actually want to dive the Christ of the Abyss. That's where I brought it up.
It is fun. It's such an easy dive, but that is fun. You've seen the video for it, so it's neat.
And probably Belize. I'd like to go there.
Yeah, we're kind of back and forth between Belize and Grand Cayman for this next trip. Trish has been, and she mentioned that the thing about Belize is they have she calls them the no-see-ums, but I guess the sand fleas and that kind of stuff. I guess the small bugs that really eat you alive.
The ones that don't bite you?
Yeah, the ones that don't bite me, because we went to Utila. Trish was there with us. We went to Utila, and I think she and Terra and everybody else just got eaten alive by those things. They didn't bother me at all. I don't know if it's because I didn't use deodorant or...
They're like, wait a minute.
No, but they just typically... Mosquitoes don't typically bother me either, so...
It's because you're like the most interesting man alive. You know, like those commercials. The mosquitoes don't bite you out of respect.
That's right. That's right. That's hilarious. Well, I was looking in the latest scuba diving magazine. They had an interesting little survey they took over what are your dream encounters like. So I don't know if you got a chance to read this or not, but
no.
What's the top like animal underwater that you would like to run into?
Manta ray.
A manta ray.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine was a whale shark.
Yeah.
And we actually tried, we picked Utila specifically because they had a reputation at the time that we were going for having whale shark encounters. And not a one. We ran into a really good sized pod of dolphin and got to kind of mix in with them a little bit, but no whale sharks. So I was looking at the results. So believe it or not, the whale shark is the top dream encounter. 43% of respondents said that they would like to run into a whale shark. Let's see, where is a manta ray? Believe it or not, manta ray is pretty far down there, 6%. Although I have to say that would be my number 2. Those are so big, and I would love to run
I'd like
into
to
one
just, catch some video or a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Number 2 on the list, humpback whale. We got to see humpback whales when we were on a trip to Hawaii, and it was the season they were migrating, so we got to see some and with the calves and everything.
There'd be whales here.
There'd be whales here, Admiral. And I actually got some video footage of them cresting as we were cruising around. It was pretty cool. Number 3, believe it or not, great white shark. I'm like, really?
I'd like to see one. No, don't get me wrong. I would love to see one too.
But not while I'm in the water.
Well, the cage better be made out of titanium,
No kidding. And many layers thick.
I wouldn't mind, but that's probably, I know how people are really like environmentalists, but those things just freak me out.
Yeah.
That's one fish that I wish, didn't exist in the water. I know they're very, intriguing and stuff, but
next on the list was the thresher shark. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar enough with the thresher shark to know why that would be very popular.
The only thing I ever heard of the thresher shark was when Robert Shaw mentioned it in Jaws. That's the first time I had ever heard that.
What was the reference in Jaws?
Apparently, a thresher shark's its dorsal fin had cut through his wetsuit where it kicked or something, and cut his leg or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that, or it was his arm or something. But I know it came up in Jaws.
Huh. Okay, so as I said earlier, the next on the list was 7%. So 12% wanted the great white, 17% wanted the humpback whale, 12% the great white, 7% the thresher, 6% wanted the manta ray. With 4%, we have a tie between a dolphin and a hammerhead.
I would go with the hammerhead.
Really?
Yeah.
Because those are so unique, I guess. Having encountered dolphins before, it's okay. I guess I've done that, and while not underwater, I have encountered a humpback. So, let's see. Each with 2%. A sea turtle, done that. Sailfish, no, never saw that. Really? Mermaid?
Well, good luck if you spot that one.
Unless there was an actual fish. I think that's not real. Cuckoo. And last but not least, and I guess I can understand that, with 1%, a giant squid. I have to say, encountering a giant squid, if you encounter one, it's probably going to be wrapping you up.
Yeah.
And get ready to eat you.
You know, the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. Yeah.
I know that. Well, the thing is, have you seen some of those pictures that people pull out of the size of those things?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to see one of those in open water, guys.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that the suckers on their tentacles they're serrated. They have like teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Those things leave. Well, if you've watched Discovery Channel or any of those, and you see the indicators of where sperm whales or other whales have had encounters with large squid, you see there's some serious scars on those things.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got chunks of flesh pulled out. That's pretty bad. So you figure just a simple old human, it would just shred you. So I don't know that I would be.
I'm sticking with my manta ray, and that's what I would like to see.
That would be awesome. Those are so majestic.
I think the way they just float in the water, they just look like.
And you know, the thing is, supposedly in the Texas Gulf Coast, we have a lot of opportunity for running into manta rays, and we just have never. We need to make that happen.
We need to make it happen.
Need to make that happen.
Yep.
So wow, we're already 12 minutes over time, but that's okay. So I think we pretty much hit everything on the show notes. So next week we will, I'll pull together some of the snapshots from Balmorhea so you can see just another aspect of the trip this weekend. And then also we'll throw in a little our impressions of Expendables 2.
Oh,
yes. And we'll see what else comes up between this week and next. I'll be working a class, so hopefully we'll be on time with the podcast. We'll see how, with only 2 students, it should go quick, but we'll find out. We may be coming in still wet. So
I might still have my wetsuit on.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. Oh, speaking of, you noticed this shirt that I'm sporting?
I was looking at that.
Let me stand up and give it a little bit of shot here. Check out the back.
Yeah, look at that. Man, that's nice.
That is the new and improved Balmorhea shirt.
It's about time.
Yeah, it looks great. I love the design. I'm like, wow. And what's interesting, it's got...
Yeah, I was going to ask that. It's got like a little brass hose on the sides.
Those are grommets for a dive flag. So you can actually fold this thing. You can actually fold this flat or lay it flat and run it up as a dive flag. So, yeah.
There you go.
So if you needed a makeshift dive flag on a boat or something, you got it. You could just pull the shirt off.
No, here's what it is. Once that shirt gets old, beat down, and torn, you just cut the sleeves off and hang that bad boy up. That's what it is.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it. So, of course, at $21 a piece, they made some money off of these. But I think just about everybody on the trip got the diver got one of these. So, but so certainly my wife and I did. So we'll probably be walking around at some point. We'll look like the stereotypical couple dressed alike. Oh, been there, done that.
Yeah.
All right, so we've come to the end of another episode of Two Guys Who Dive. I had a great time this weekend. I really wish you'd have been able to make it. I think you would have just had a blast, even running out of the rain, like the last time.
I always tend to have a blast anytime diving's involved. I really enjoy the activity. I enjoy the friendships that I've made in diving. I've met a lot of interesting people.
See a lot of interesting things.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff.
Some that you wish you could unsee.
It's funny. It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But and every time that we've made the trip to Balmorhea, it's fun just hanging out there. There's times when I've gotten tired and I just don't want to get back in the water, so I'll sit one out and I'll just be eating a hot dog or something, from the grill.
Yeah, you don't have to dive, you don't have to swim.
But it is a lot of fun, and it's in the mountains. It's very scenic.
Yep.
It's just great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then of course, it doesn't hurt when you're out there with people that you have fun with.
Yeah.
So it makes it worthwhile.
And it's important to just get away from the hometown and just unwind. Be disconnected. And I'll tell you, out there you're just
very disconnected.
Yeah, we were lucky to get a signal enough to even text, which was pretty bad.
So, what happened with your compressor?
Oh, I'll share the.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that was just fun. That was fun. So, all right. So, well, that's it for this week. We'll keep you posted on our Facebook page and website and on Ustream. You can check us out, and we'll let you know if we're going to be running late with the podcast next week. But we should be back on our regular day and time, which is Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central Time. And as we said earlier, we'd love for you to jump in the chat room and join us live. We'd love to field your questions and comments and just interact with you. You can always send us email. You got let me get my cursor over here. You got that's how you can get a hold of Scuba Bob here at RS Garza 435 for us to follow him on Twitter, or RS Garza 821 at yahoo.com. Of course, you can check me out on Twitter, Robert CFP, or Robert.Wade at SettyFox.net. And always you can follow us on Facebook. Just check out DelRioDiveClub.com for the website, or Facebook/Del Rio Dive Club. And we'd love to hear from you.
Yes,
and
please.
So that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week on another episode of
Two Guys Who Dive.